being an educator, because there's something about being in an environment where you're trying to help people understand something and you're learning from them at the same time. That's really rewarding and valuable.
What led me to this specific career path in education was actually my father. He worked in international development and he was the CEO of Aga Khan Foundation USA for 25 years. So I got to see it every day, what international development did. And I then actually went into development and then did a specialty in education.
The law is a tool and can be a tool for social change. And that's very much what inspired me to become a lawyer.
Math is a universal language, so when we moved to the States, although my English wasn't very good, it was a way for me to connect with my peers and who are also good at math.
What inspired me to join technology was in my first year of university, I took a course. And in that course, I read this book called The Clue Train Manifesto. And the book was so fascinating. It predicted what the future would be like with what we live now, the internet. And that was 2001. And when I read that book, I thought, wow, I just need to be a part of this.
My father only has a grade 6 education. He grew up in a very poor family. And my mother actually did go to college, and she was a teacher in East Africa, a secondary school teacher. But when they moved to Canada, they had nothing. I mean, they came with no resources, and they lived in a tiny studio with my sister. So their primary focus was trying to make sure that there was enough food to eat on the table. I mean, remember the stories of them saying they couldn't afford a cup of coffee at McDonald's, right? So for them, education was something they were not going to be able to pursue any further, especially for my father, who didn't have much of an education. But the goal was to provide a means for their children to have a great education.
Like a lot of families, my parents inspired me to where I am today because they gave us no choice about getting a good education. That was what our responsibility was growing up. And so having that reinforced day after day sort of made you set higher goals for yourself.
Your education isn't just about intellectual vanity, right? It's not just about accumulating wealth. There's nothing wrong with accumulating wealth, but we were taught as Ismailis that the purpose of education is something beyond that your life has a purpose beyond that, just beyond yourself. And so if you're fortunate, as I was, to get a terrific education, you have almost an obligation to then use that education to help people and to serve people.
We escaped Taliban persecution under very difficult circumstances, and when we moved to the States as refugees, they resettled us to Memphis, Tennessee, in a very high crime area, bad schools. And when Muki and Kamra Saibans of Memphis found out about us, they helped us move to a better area, which I think set the foundation for my academic career. And with the new Jamaat around us and with the guidance of Maulana Hazarmam, we learned that education is the key to success.
The way I serve others in our community is really through mentorship. And you know, when I was early in my career, I didn't have that. The technology industry was very new. And so I really give back by spending my time with entrepreneurs in the community, giving them guidance on how to grow their business, how to meet with investors, whatever it takes to get more people to start companies. In fact, that's really why I started Women 2.0 and my company Founder Labs, because that's what it does. It helps others.
Are we spreading the wealth, both literally and figuratively? If we are teachers, are we making sure we're teaching at every opportunity? If we are doctors, are we serving those who can't pay us? If we're lawyers, are we serving those who can't pay us? If we are in the business world, are we making sure that we're mentoring and bringing people up? Are we helping nonprofits create the structures and investments that will allow them to do the good that they need to do in the world? I think these are all really important parts of what it means to be educated. It's like faith. It's not a private and personal thing that is for our benefit only, but should be directed out in the world in a way that affects a positive change.
Wherever I worked, I always made sure there were opportunities and programs to provide pro bono services to people that were indigent and marginalized. And so for me, that is very much stems from my faith, from what I learned from my faith about what it means to be part of this country and also a good Ismaili Muslim.
I think that there probably isn't an area of human endeavor in which we do not have today a murid who is exceptional in his own or her own field. And when I make the appointments to the Jamaati positions, I ask myself, how many more wonderful murids, young people getting wonderful education, will come forward and be able to serve the Jamaat? And I wanted to say particularly this evening my immense gratitude for the generosity, the material generosity, and the time and knowledge that the Jamaat has pledged to the future of our global Jamaat. There is nothing more important than sharing knowledge.